My name is Yuri Andropov. I was born in 2017 in Irkutsk, a city which existed in the USSR. It still may. I do not know. I immigrated to America in 2017 as a part of a cultural exchange, spearheaded by what was left of the beleaguered yet resilient Catholic Church. Ostensibly, this was a diplomatic olive branch extended in an attempt to mitigate the rising tensions caused by the commanders of our Chinese comrades. In reality, this was an ineffectual PR stunt. Obviously, this was like throwing a bucket of water onto a forest fire. It was a last-ditch and futile effort to avoid the inevitable. By this time, I was a seasoned Catholic priest, having moved through the parishes and churches across the USSR. Regardless of the communists' theoretical disdain for organized religion, you cannot destroy the old ways. The church had its roots in the hearts of the Russian people, which stretch back nearly a millennia. And anyway, we offered the opiate of the masses, and a certain level of control which came with it. I was stationed, my placement was in Duluth, Minnesota, which in winter reminded me of my birthplace. Cold and harsh, with a wind whipping off of a frozen lake. I enjoyed my time there very much. I played hockey in the pickup league. But when the bombs fell, I was in the main cathedral, in Our Lady of the Rosary, with my flock. I was leading Mass, praying that our Heavenly Father would intervene on behalf of humanity and spare us the coming apocalypse. But the Lord had already passed judgment. He had destroyed the world once with a flood, and promised the next would be fire. And that fire had come. I did make half-hearted pleas to the sun, but if he ever heard them, I will never know. The political and economic reasons for the apocalypse number in the thousands, and in the end, they wouldn't matter anyway. They were all entirely human ones. Now where had I heard that before? Regardless, Duluth was spared the brunt of the impacts, which leveled St. Paul and Minneapolis to the south. And for 36 hours, we believed that we had been lucky, that our prayers had been answered. That is when the first of my parishioners fell ill. We had all received the training, provided by the ubiquitous vault deck. We knew it was radiation poisoning. We had a small supply of anti-radiation medicine in the first aid kit in my office. This lasted less than a day. Then, the rioting and violence began. We heard small arms fire in the street, and bands of roaming militias squared off against what was left of the municipal police department, and then the National Guard. Sentry bots patrolled the streets and enforced martial law, executing civilians and looters alike. We barred the doors to the cathedral, and all the entrances to the church. Everything was blocked with pews and anything we could lift to make it impassable. I only prayed that no wicked soul would lob a Molotov inside and burn us all alive. I had 2 older Mark II Neutrons, which served as night security, and when I booted them up, they patrolled the cathedrals day and night. Our Sunday school teacher was a repurposed Miss Nanny, which had limited medical subroutines I had enabled. We waited like this for over a week before the water stopped running and the parish food bank supplies ran out. That is when our real problems started. Over 1/3 of my flock had passed due to the radiation sickness, and they were piling up in the basement. The stench was unbelievable, but there was nowhere else to put them. It was the coolest place in the building and the best we could do to slow their decay. I had much help just after the end, men and women I will never forget. They worked tirelessly to ensure that we had the best chance of survival until order was restored. But they all died one by one as we got more and more sick. Some died from the lack of water, most from the radiation. Some decided that the best course of action was to take the supplies of Day Tripper and Comex that they had all in one dose. I gave them all last rites, every one of them, even the suicides, and they were carried by the Neutrons to the basement. I was not the last to succumb. There were maybe a half dozen of us by then, weakened by sickness and lack of water. And the basement was full of over 200 people, slowly turning back to Earth. I assume that the Trons had followed their instructions and moved every one of us down there as we died. Because when I awoke, no living soul resided in Our Lady of the Rosary. I, Yuri am dead, cursed for my sins by the Lord to walk this earth. Like Lazarus, I have died and have been resurrected, born again in a crypt from a pile of corpses that was my flock. As far as I can tell, I am nearly 200 years old. I have met many like me. They call us ghouls. However, most have gone mad from the time and the horror in this world. Most, like me, are savages, mindless horrors, and as such, I am less than welcome most places I go. But I have my trusted companion and business partner, Enola May. She carries my burdens and my wares, and keeps me company as I muse and preach along our travels. I may have come to this country under less than honest circumstances, but I will leave it a better land. Or at least it will be better for me having been in it. I will try to bring as much goodness and light into this world as I can. For my sins are plenty, and I must make amends to the Lord.